Good evening, and a very good evening it is too, and welcome to the Sunday edition of Spurs Diehards, TTID Tottenham Till I Die, where we have an all-star panel, with no expense has been spared to get them on tonight's show. First of all, a relative newbie, Harry Scarf from Scarfy Talk. Good evening, Harry. How are you?
Good evening. I'm very good, thank you, especially after that Spurs win. Great to share the stage with a fantastic panel tonight. So looking forward to getting into the game and, third place in the Premier League table, unbeaten in the Champions League, still in the Carabao Cup. Not a bad start under Thomas Frank. So looking forward to getting into this game.
Apart from that, everything's crap, right? And
exactly.
Our regular Callum, good evening.
Evening, mate. Evening. Yeah, to echo what Scarfy's saying, we've got 2 losses in 14 games under Frank. So, I mean, it's a breath of fresh air. We might not always like the football, but we are difficult to beat. And that's what we want to see. And we're talking about another win. So, happy days, mate.
Indeed, we will. Excuse me. And Adrian, my partner in crime, how are you tonight?
I'm fine. I'm thinking of putting a protest into the management of this group because you keep getting wins in and all I get is draws and losses to host. You know what I mean? So...
All you need to do and we'll be Champions League winners, Premier League winners, FA Cup winners. We could do the lot.
The quadruple is on, yeah?
The quadruple. Oh, God, you sounded like... what's his name? Kate's husband. What's his name?
Jimbo. If you're listening, Jim, big up, mate, and Kate.
It's old
Jimbo. You're both well.
I apologise. It's old age, I promise you. But there is a link in that, and if you haven't seen it, Scarfy got a lovely scoop, a wonderful interview. I haven't seen it all, but I've seen a good chunk of it with Steve Perryman. And it's really, really excellent. And Harry, if you don't know, maybe some of our viewers don't know him. I don't know, but Harry is still 16, and I'm going to say it here now: a future star of Sky Sports presentation. Only if only you believe it will happen, Harry. It will happen.
Okay. Thank you, God. Just that's incredibly kind of you. Thank you. And it was an amazing interview, and it's just a real honour to interview someone like Steve Perrin and the amount of appearances he made for the club and how great he was, and someone that wasn't even in my lifetime. But like I mentioned to my dad, he's like, "Oh my God, this is a huge thing." So I know that it's one that is definitely for the ages. Yeah. So it was honestly an incredible thing. And thanks as well for having me tonight.
No, my pleasure, our pleasure. It is in the in the chat, guys. So you can all pick up that link whenever you want. I am going to put the chat on live, and that means I won't worry too much about it. Other than I'll start off with just a couple of hellos because we do have a lot to get through, and there are quite a few of you. But Brian was in early. I was replying through all the replies. Right. Good evening, Rain. So we're going to talk about this. As someone who's been preaching patience with Frank and the players, I'm trying to work out where the Spurs meltdown currently stands today. We'll do this, and I'm more than capable of a meltdown because I wasn't happy last week, but I'm bloody happy. Can I not be heard?
I can hear you.
No, it's just you've just got a crap mic. That's the difference.
I'm using my external mic, the mic with a.
Sound fine to me.
If I need a new mic, if I need to get a mic, I'll get one. It's no big deal. No, the GoFundMe page. You can crowdfund me my next holiday as well if you want, but
we'd all be skint based on how many holidays you have. Literally, we'd be running TUI. It'd be ridiculous.
You should be able to trade air miles for a mic.
Your comment, Captain. Good evening, Graham. And then we got to pay for a nice mic. Yeah, I can get it free as well. Right, let's enough of this frivolity because frivolity. I'm one for serious discussion. If I can find the page through Adrian's thousands of shitey banners. But there we go. Everton 0.
Such an arse.
Let's bring you in, Scarfy. Everton's first defeat at the Hill Dickinson Stadium. That was some achievement.
Absolutely huge, Ian, and there's loads of things about this. It's the fact that Everton up until now haven't conceded a goal from a set piece so far this season, and we scored 2 against them, and their record's been very good at home. And let's be honest with you here, David Moyes is, worry old fox, I call him. I think he's a very wise manager, and it's a very tough team to play, whether it be his West Ham team or Everton team. So everything about this, had banana skin written all over it. Jack Grealish against Pedro Porro. I love Porro, but I was really worried in that 1v1. And there were several things I looked at and thought, how are we going to stop Everton? They just seemed like one of those games you thought we're going to struggle in. So to come out of it, and I know that people still look at the performance and go, okay, 2 goals from set piece. Do we still look good going forward? But I'd also remind people that the amount of goals we conceded last season, I still think it was a good season because we won the Europa League. Don't get me wrong, but we conceded lots of goals. Frank's come in with a number one priority. It's clear to see, he said it as well, to tighten up the defence, concede less goals, keep clean sheets. We've kept quite a few. I don't know exactly how many, but the majority of the time we've actually kept a clean sheet. That's pretty much impressive. Now it's about building offensively. It's looking creative from open play. But if you watch Arsenal this year, right, I don't like to use an example, but they are top of the league. Of course, they're really dangerous in set pieces. Apart from that, they don't really create too much. It was a tight game against Crystal Palace today. They get the job done. So I wouldn't say you have to be this, world-class team in open play and look all this, dazzling. It's about getting results. And to be honest with you, I don't care if we play crap or play amazing. If we get a result, of course you care in terms of the performance. If you consistently play poor, it will catch up with you. Look at Liverpool. They got through it the first phase of the season through poor performances. It does catch up on you. But a game-by-game basis, if you're not performing to the best of your ability, it's okay if you get the result. And today we dug deep with a clear, plan of a defensive performance and looked good every time we went forward on the counter and clearly got 2 goals from set pieces. That's what they're for, long throw-ins, free kicks, corners to take advantage of. So Ian, I'm very happy. Huge win.
Thanks, Harry. Going to talk about that. I mean, Cal, you've played a bit. I think you've coached a bit as well. You talk about players winning their personal battles. And despite the fact Everton had an awful lot of the ball and created chances, you'd say in the main our players won their personal head-to-heads today.
Yeah, realistically, we definitely had a number of personal battles which we won from defence into midfield, maybe not up front so much, but realistically we can say we definitely had the better offing and we kept a lot of their players quiet. So realistically, I would say that's winning at least half the battle, and then them not scoring is the other part of it as well, to be honest. So realistically, some standouts, Van der Ven, Danso, Vicario, obviously, is another standout. I know Adrian covered him in the week as well in the Monaco game, how much he stepped up. I mean, these are personal battles that are winning us games, at least, especially today. So no, hands down, very, very happy with that. And for once, it sort of worked with Paulinho and Bentancur having that sort of calming influence in front as well.
Haven't you fed me beautifully into where I want to bring Adrian in? That was the team.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the team I was picking. A lot of people were concerned about the Paulinho-Bentancur double pivot, although it seems to be working away from better than it does at home. But the question I've got was, what was the shape today? Because it's
oblong, oval, rectangle. Which one are we choosing?
It was what I call a sort of a disjointed shape, to be honest with you. I mean, when I see the team list, I could have leapt out the chair when I see Marnie was starting. I think most Spurs fans felt that way. And we talked about this before, I think, on Tuesday. You start him. If he runs out of gas, you might get an hour out of him, then take him off. And that's what happened, Johnson, I thought, would play again because people be rested. I thought, please do not play him on the left. But then he was on the right, and Kudus was sort of given this is where our shape was a bit different. I mean, like, we got the midfield, but Kudus was sort of tucked inside more in a sort of an inside forward position, wasn't he? and which was good. I mean, I thought Porro struggled a bit against Grealish a bit, but he's going to give any team problems during a game like so. And Spence, I'm going through the non-positives at the moment. But Spence, even when he got forward, unlike usually when he likes to go on and beat a man and go forward, he was reluctant to do that. And I think he must have been under orders. That must have been purely tactical, just to not let them get at us because their winger on the right, he was quite tricky, wasn't he? It was quite.
That's Iliman Njai. He's a
he looks a player. Unless he's just just had one good game against us, because I don't watch Everton. And when you see a player play well, you think, he's good all the time. But
I mean, Harry, you was on with Dan, wasn't you, on Toffee Bluecast the other night? And he blows smoke so far up his arsehole, it's unbelievable. He loves him. Let's put it that
I don't smoke, so
That's true.
so yeah.
Harry, let's bring you back in here because 2 minutes in, and he absolutely roasts Spence. Ball goes far post, and it's a great block by Porro. Otherwise, we're probably one down. And I thought, trouble here. But that was really the only time he really did Spence.
It was, and that's full credit to Jed Spence. And I can't even tell you now after the game, it's hard how concerned I was for both our fullbacks going up against Grealish and Ndiaye. These are top wingers. And, Adrian raises a very good point with Ndiaye. He absolutely did have a good game. But Jed Spence, we know he's very good in 1v1. And I love Porro, but that isn't his best strength at all. We know defensively it isn't anyway, but in particular, those 1v1 battles where Jack Grealish thrives. And I think, for Everton's sake, I think they struggled in midfield. So Grealish was dropping kind of deeper, which didn't really help him. And Frank, for me, which I'm sure we'll get onto, is ruin it and touch on it too much. But we only doubled up on that side. It felt like we had so much control over that right hand side. We had so many players over there, which just for me cut out that threat of Grealish and Mikalenko getting forward. But no, I was really worried after the start. If you'd listened to me in my house, you'd think I was extremely miserable. I was like, oh, here we go. This is going to be the story of the game. It's going to be Everton pressure. So I wasn't best pleased after the start. With Ndiaye clearly up for the game, but wow, talk about patience in the game. We were really, kind of calm and patient, and grew into the game, and let Everton have their moment at the start, but were kind of professional and sensible about it. So if that, as you say, and if they scored at the start, though, it is different. There's no doubt about it. But I share your concern at the time.
Yeah, well, I absolutely 1,000,000%. Cal, I was looking at it, and sometimes it's much harder to watch on telly because you're only getting that narrow part of the pitch that they're showing you where the ball is. But it struck me that we were playing pretty well a three at the back, particularly in possession of the ball, with Johnson almost as a right wing back and Porro and Spence rather as a left wing back, with then giving support to Simmons, Polina and Bentancur, making a much tighter middle. Muani pretty well given the centre forward job, and then Kudos seemed to me to have a free role to go where he wanted when we had the ball, but to help double up at the back when we were out of possession. But I don't know. I mean, that's just my view. I know the people in the chat want to say. I don't know. How did you see it, Cal?
I saw it as quite a tight formation, to be honest. We was playing quite high, but it was quite tight as well. And I think that's what Frank was probably aiming for, to sort of squeeze Everton out wide, to mean that they were having to hit the ball long, to be honest, because realistically, they weren't trying to play it through the middle that much through that formation. And it worked for a good portion of the game, didn't it, realistically? So I think with them tucking in, and then when we was in possession, it would sort of be Porro pushing forward, Spence stopping at the halfway line where he was cutting in sideways or sort of setting that space. What kind of interested me was Van der Ven, how far he was pushing forward today as well. I mean, I don't know whether he had a free roam, or I think by the time that he was on 2 goals, he was probably thinking, I could actually have a hat-trick here. I could have more goals than any forwards. But you're completely right. Kudus with a free roam. Muani is an actual focal point compared to that stupid pigeon of a player that we have up front. Johnson sort of tucking into the right-hand side a little bit, and then Simmons as sort of a forward approach player in there. So it kind of looked at times like a 3-5-2 in there realistically, or a 3-4-3 in that formation. It was very fluid but tight, I would say, is what we wanted. And I also saw Paulinia dropping more deep than Bentancur today as well, which was a lot more promising compared to having both of them just sitting there shielding.
I mean, Adrian, talk about Johnson, for example. I mean, that's the deepest I've ever seen Johnson play. Give him much more support. One of the weaknesses I've always felt with him was the lack of support, and it may have been under Ange. That was how he was instructed to play. But he seemed to give Porro a lot more help defensively than he did under Ange.
He only took his man on once, didn't he, down the right? And he kept, if Kudus was in his position, he's taken his man on, hasn't he? But like Johnson didn't. He was one of the quieter ones. But I think where Ange got it right, we only had 2 work in progress players on the pitch instead of usually 4. So you had Simmons and you had Moani. But we know Moani's got, he's a striker. He just looks a striker, presses. He's good old up playing there, holds the ball well, and he's got that vision to play people in as well. I mean, he's just a good striker, and there's a lot of fans, because when they don't see a player, they start cussing him off. Oh, he won't want to stay with us. He won't like it, or he's going to be crap. He won't. He won't be crap. I'm telling you now. He wasn't at Frankfurt or whether in Germany, and he wasn't at Juve, and his numbers have always been good, and he'll be good for us. And this is what we need. We need, we need him up and firing, because then that gives you confidence and go through. It wasn't a pretty performance today by a long shot, was it? We haven't seen us be pretty apart from Man City away, really. And we want to see that. But Frank's quiet revolution is coming along nicely, actually. I mean, and we know the reactions we're going to get from our bipolar fan base. I mean, like, when we win, they're up in the hot clouds, and when we lose, like, they're down in the dumps. So you've got to look at the bigger picture here. We finished 17th last year. Great that we won a trophy, but you just don't bounce from 7th. If he gets us 5th, 6th, or 7th this season, that'll be great. We'd love a domestic trophy, because realistically, we're not winning the Premier League and we're not winning the Champions League. That's for sure, right? We'll probably get in the playoffs in the Champions League and then say goodbye to the competition. But we'll have earned a few quid, which we'll invest wisely. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, another thing.
We have a say, Adrian, that there's no pictures in golf, that there's no pictures on the scorecard.
Right.
And there's no pictures on the scoreboard in football either. I mean, it was an efficient job. Anyway, let me say hi to a couple of people. Nick, good evening. Welcome to you, one of our regulars. Roger Maltz. Roger, thanks. There's some lovely comments you made about the channel and my chat with Brian Daigle on the...
great show that was. Go look it up, guys.
Very good.
Yeah, I'll plug that myself. Yeah, but I had a chat with Brian about, what, Brian's very, very anti-leaving. And we had a really interesting 45-minute natter. Phil King's in. Good evening, Phil. Lovely to see you in. And let's just see. Need to talk about the shape as a sort of 4-2-3-1, and it worked. Yeah, I thought it was very fluid. That was the thing I really liked. Just in time for my pal Peter Kagais. It's 8:20 a.m. in Melbourne, raining today. Well, it's raining in Glasgow, but it's always bloody raining here. Although
it's bloody freezing down here at the moment. It's ridiculous.
My mum said that. She's 91, so she does feel it. But that crowded Melbourne group, crowded house, 4 seats in one day. That song apparently was about the Melbourne weather. But there you go. Anyway, let's go back to the game.
How old's that song, Ian? I mean, me and H definitely won't know that reference, will we?
No.
Probably mid. I don't know. Someone can look it up, but I would think it's somewhere around, I don't know, 86, 87, something like that. But some people can, because someone can look that up.
So a long time ago then. A long time ago then.
Okay. 19 minutes. Harry, let's bring you back. Kudus has a corner, headed back by Bentancur and headed in by Van der Ven. So bloody simple, it's untrue.
It's so simple but so great and so effective as well. And what a goal it is. And sometimes you just got to keep things simple, haven't you? And sometimes the simple are the greatest goals. And kudos, that money, ball, is completely on the money. It's clearly going to Bentancur, a very deliberate knockback, and Van der Ven, right place, right time more than anything. And I've been so impressed with him. I think he's taken that armband role incredibly well since Romero's been out. I mean, just steps it up and even another gear. And like just looking at like player ratings and that of different websites, and they give Van der Ven like an 8 or a 9. I'd say, what more do you need to be given 10 out of 10 as a centre back when you keep a clean sheet away to Everton with a quite a good attack and you score 2 goals, a brace as a centre back? I'll just say to them lightly, what more you wanted? You wanted to score 3 or 4 goals, but what an incredible goal this was at an important time as well, because Everton had started quite quickly, which we alluded to, and that goal covered an important time for Tottenham. And it's quite funny, commentators curse, they're like, well, Everton haven't conceded from a set piece so far this season, the only team to do so, and there's a goal. So it just felt absolutely perfect, and it was a beautiful goal as well. So now I'm happy, and I think this goal made a huge difference in the game, because Everton, it's in their heads, they're 1-0 down, they've got to try and find a way to get back into it. And I felt like Everton, they didn't remain cool and calm like they did at the second half of last season. They 1-0 behind, they're trying to force it through in the end as well, just going to start attacking, trying to also force the goal. And that is the worst thing you could do sometimes in football. You leave yourself open and you make mistakes. So Everton will be kicking themselves to the reaction after this first goal, because it's changed quite a bit, in my opinion. But what a goal it was.
Thanks, Harry. Cal, I mean, I don't know if you saw the interview, the club interview with Thomas Frank after the game, where he said, this is one we've worked on the training ground. So that's even better to see when you think it's something that they've worked on and delivered it.
Yeah, no, most definitely. I mean, you can definitely see the patterns of play from these corners is that they tried to overload the keeper with that, and Van der Ven seems to make these darting runs in, and Danso was trying it against Monaco as well in the week. So it seems to be all patterns of play they've actually worked on. It's not just spur of the moment, right, we've got a corner, we'll just hoof the ball into the box and hopefully someone goes for it. It seems to be Danso, Van der Ven, Bentancur and Paulinho who are the ones who are all attacking the ball from these set pieces. So it definitely looks trained and orchestrated by Andreas Jorgensen. So no, very positive. And if it's paying off, then it's making more headway than these poxy long throws. Let's put it that way, that they're meant to be practicing at the moment.
Before I bring Adrian in, an Evertonian on, Rich is 066. Evening, Everton fans. Congratulations, Spurs was at the game today. We was poor. Maybe, but all I'll say is we got the luck at the times we needed. I think Everton play worse than that and win games. I don't think Everton were that bad.
They definitely had good moments, didn't they, today? There was definitely some stuff that they could take credit from in that game. Yeah. To be honest, we can't just poo-poo it and say we were perfect.
No. No, absolutely. It's not as if we played them off the park or anything.
No, we didn't. And like, look, I would have been aggrieved to have that goal disallowed as well. That was one of them. It's like a 50-50, wasn't it?
I'll that in a minute, but I want something.
All right. I was to say like a headed goal, and like we scored 3 headed goals in, didn't we? I mean, when's the last time we did that? Anyone know? I can remember when we scored 5 because I was at the game. You may have been at the game, Ian. We played Dynamo Tbilisi and beat them 5-1 at home in the UEFA Cup in about 1972. So, like, yeah. Where's he gone?
On. I've just lost my...
His text just gone back to 1972.
I can remember when we played Dynamo Tbilisi, we scored 5 headers.
Yeah, that was it. 5 headers.
1973, that was.
Or 2 or 3, yeah, because Bill Nicholson said they were weak in the air. How true was that? Chivers, Peters and Kilzine got the goals. Yeah.
Some people definitely. Adrian, I need to fix my speaker. I can hear better when I've got my speaker on. But can you... I'm going to come on to the goal in a... let me talk about that goal then. Because... Yeah, Everton had the ball in the net, disallowed. I've got my own thoughts. I just need to pick up a wire for my speaker. Cal, will you give me your thoughts on it, and I'll be back in a minute.
Yeah, it was a really difficult one, weren't it? Because realistically, yes, their players were in an offside position, but we saw this issue last year where people were targeting Vicario by being a very weak, non-dominating keeper. So I think if I was an Evertonian fan, I'd feel quite pissed, if you get what I mean. I don't think, they was in an offside position, but they weren't the ones making the goal. I think it was more for a foul, if anything, even though they put it down as an offside goal. I think it was more towards the foul that was committed, but I think it's 50-50. I don't think it's clear cut. And a lot of Spurs fans were going, yeah, it's clear cut. It shouldn't stand all that. I was just like, no, realistically, if I was an Evertonian, I'd be very annoyed because they scored a good goal and they overloaded the box. And realistically, they did well with that goal. I mean, what was it? O'Brien who scored or something like that? I mean, he's a decent player, to be honest. I wouldn't be that against him playing for Spurs, realistically, because he has a good set piece hold on him. So, yeah, realistically, great that he got chalked off, but I don't think it was as clear cut as people have made it out to be. Let's put it that way.
Harry, your take on that? Just let that go.
Yeah, I haven't got too much to add to what Callum said. It's one of those that they make it so hard for themselves. They probably don't know what they're doing. And I mean that in the nicest possible way in VAR. They don't know what the right decision to get to is. It's one of them where you go, in my opinion, Vicario is not saving this at all. I don't think it makes much difference to him. But at the same time, there is contact on him. He doesn't. I think a lot of it is Vicario doesn't know he's there. And Spurs players haven't picked him up, and it's caught us unawares. And Vicario would complain about anything. But I think, overall, I do believe deep down it's probably the right decision. But you've got to put yourself, as Callum said, in that Everton fan perspective in their shoes. And of course, you'd be a little bit, annoyed with it. I think overall it's the right decision. But at the same time, the one that we scored is absolutely not a foul with Van der Ven. But there's a little bit of a nudge on Pickford. And I looked at that and thought, will they pick up on that as well in terms of what we just saw a little bit earlier? So it's one of those you go really harsh, but probably just about the right decision.
Do you guys think, like I was thinking actually, that if it wasn't for the pushing and the offside, the combination of both things, that goal would have stood? If it was just been one thing?
Well, it took the bloody VAR long enough to look at it, didn't it? So I think there was definitely some sort of contention there, and realistically to send the ref over to the monitor to make the decision, I definitely think there was a chance he could have said it could have stood. It was only that he got, because there was that many people in front of Vicario in that sort of jumble mosh pit idea. I think that's probably the reason why he pulled it.
Yeah, 100%.
I didn't see this, but before Ian sits down then, let's move on his next banner in. Moyes' interview after the game said he thought, I haven't had a chance to look at all the interviews or our players. I haven't watched the highlights back and things like that, or even aim. So you guys, I was busy. So sorting all that stuff out actually, and sending it to everyone. But yeah. Moyes' interview after game said he thought it was rightly disallowed. Oh, that surprises me, a manager coming out and saying that, Eric.
Yeah, hugely surprising and something I didn't expect, but absolutely full credit to David Moyes in this situation. I think class has prevailed, as I want to call it, in this situation. I think he's just being totally honest. And he said that it was rightly disallowed. There's something else he said about a penalty claim. He just completely shut it down as well. And he said, the referee got pretty much everything right today. So, Everton fans won't like to hear that, but that he's doing the right thing. He's putting the kind of focus on himself, but also the players, because Everton find themselves 14th in the table. They absolutely won't find themselves there. I promise you that now, come the end of the season, unless something catastrophically goes wrong. They're a good side, and I feel very confident to say they're finished inside the top half. And it's for Everton, it's about getting these, dominating games. And when I mean that, I mean in terms of having long spells of possession, it's about converting that into clear-cut chances, then converting that clear-cut chances into goals, which they have struggled a little bit. They massively lack a number 9. I mean, I thought we did at Tottenham, but you look at them, they've only got Beto and Barry because they probably rightly let Calvert-Lewin go. But Barry is young and just needs a goal for his confidence. And Beto, I mean, can't score for toffee, really, if we're being kind about it. So that's a difficult situation. But Moyes, classy, to be fair. And he's a top guy and to be fair, a decent manager. It pains me to say any ex-West Ham manager, but he knows how to get the most out of his team. And Everton are only going to get better as the season goes on.
Callum, it's better than like a manager saying, "Oh, it shouldn't have been chalked off," or "I had an obstructed view, I didn't see it."
Yeah, what's the usual line from them? Oh, I haven't watched the game back yet on review, so I can't look at it. What's a load of cobblers? No, I mean, Moyes, it always seems to be quite a decent bloke. I mean, there was a nice piece that Frank did before the game as well, saying that him and Moyes had worked on the Euros together and they'd be going out for a pint tonight as well. So I definitely think Moyes is quite down to earth. He's not full of shit. He's quite level-headed, and I don't think he cares about the politics of the game. He just gets straight to the point of it. So no, very good for him to admit that. And he said that obviously Van der Ven's second goal should have stood, even though there was a call for a foul in the build-up for that as well. So no, very honest, very down to earth, and what you want from him as a consummate professional compared to a Billy bullshitter like some of these managers are out there.
Back to you, Ian.
I don't know if you haven't covered this, Adrian.
I haven't. No, big up here.
Peter, can't thank you enough, my man. Always grateful for your support. The channel loves you. Thank you, sir. Thank you. But yeah, I mean, I didn't see anything wrong with a goal on the live. But as soon as you saw the replay and his position relative to Vicario, I think in a situation like that, you will invariably get the decision going the goalkeeper's way. With the players virtually on the goal line. But I mean, I think part of the problem with VAR, as I see it, is you just don't know what they're going to give. I mean, I say that, and people know as an ex-referee that what are they going to give? What do they think's handball? What do they think's offside? What do they think a foul is? I'm just never sure what they're going to give, and I was happy. I thought it was right, and I think David Moyes was very honest, refreshingly honest, to come out and say, yeah, I thought it was offside. And as a defender, remember, and he's a defensive-minded manager and a defender in his playing days, said I would have expected that to be disallowed. So. Let me move on from that, and thanks for that indulgence. I couldn't find the stats because I could only find the stats up to Friday, but there has been, Adrian, a massive increase this season in set-piece goals. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's been coached a lot more. If you go back over a few seasons now, you find season on season more goals are scored from set pieces, but usually from corners. I mean, you find a lot of attacking teams, they're piling men at the back post, but your defenders can't go on the back post. Otherwise, you're leaving great big gaping gaps in front of the goal. So it's working. I mean, look, the ball coming in is good. Isn't it great that Kudus can whack a ball in there and Porro can back and beat the first man? I mean, Ericsson, for all how good he was, sometimes he just never could get it past the first man. I mean, like, different if you had got Gills in there, it's going to flick it on. But I mean, like, we put some good crosses in. I mean, that is Ari alluded to earlier. That's a training ground to the far post. That's been worked on, right? So, and you still got to do it. I mean, they're not always going to work, and I like the fact that we got the long throws as well, and we will benefit from the long throws eventually. If you keep doing it, we will get a goal from it. So yeah, and we got two that could do it.
Harry, let me bring you in on this. For example, I mean, I think I should have written the stat down at the time, but I think Gabriel has now scored 13 goals for Arsenal. I think it's 13. Every one of them from a set piece. Every single one of them is from a set piece. I mean, that's quite a remarkable statistic.
It is, and a lot of people will be quick to mock Arsenal, and I enjoy that kind of fun side of it. But for being totally honest with you, they have led the way with this whole new idea with set pieces, not the throw-ins at all, but the corners I'm talking about in particular. Because they've looked at it, I think, and Mikel Arteta and gone, look, not being funny, I don't think he's the greatest manager in the world. How can we get the little edges, if you like, over our opponent. And that's the way that top managers look at it. You know, look, you ask Jose Mourinho, Antonio Conte, little things that make a big difference. They go a long way. So if you do a lot of those little things, they do all add up. And one of these things is set pieces. I think they're absolutely massive. I think it's great to see the long throw-in come back in. I haven't seen it in my lifetime before, but I think it's a massive, you know, kind of success to the game, because you know every opportunity you have, the ball you should be thinking positively. I can never get it when you get a throw and you're going backwards, and it used to feel like you just go back a couple of seasons ago. If you get a throw in your own kind of a corner, you're near your goal. It just felt like awful. It felt like giving a corner away, even though you were taking the throw, because 9 times out of 10 you lost the ball. Whereas now it's a whooping long throw in nearly to the halfway line. So just how that's changed in just a few months is absolutely amazing. So no, set pieces have been on the climb. They will continue to increase. And let's talk about kickoffs as well. I mean, some proper interesting kickoffs. It was at Villa the other day. It was a kicky uppy, then a little juggle, and then he went for goal. I haven't seen anyone go for goal from forward like that. I've seen people kick it at the corner flag. And yeah, honestly, some of the things we've had, and people give away goal kicks, throw-ins, pass it back forward. So things like that, people are trying to get the advantage. Any little way, it's about getting an advantage on your opponent, and set pieces are one of them. And Frank is someone that always has and always will. You know, his teams thrive from set pieces because he takes it seriously.
Adrian, I'll bring you in because Cal's far too young to answer this question. But it feels like a throwback to the 70s and 80s, the way that set pieces are being played. And the reason I won't bring Callum in this is, Harry, you'll have to ask your grandpa about this. Cal, maybe your parents might know or might remember. Chelsea winning an FA Cup final replay at Old Trafford, following an Ian Hutchison long throw, and he could throw a football. I mean, it was like a corner, and David Webb getting a scrappy winner for them to beat Leeds 2-1 in the 1970 FA Cup.
And also Chivers had a long throw on him as well. And actually, I did see a kickoff where they passed, because he had such a shot on him. Him and Peter Lorre had such shots on him that the ball was just passed to Chivers and he took a shot from kickoff. I've seen that. But the only modern time one we sort of relate to is Rory Delap, isn't it? And his boy or whatever's now playing at Chelsea, isn't he? Is it his boy or
Liam, isn't it? Yeah.
For all of you Sava people that have just joined us, Rodney,
thank you, Sava. Big up.
Yeah, we've quickly gone up to we were around the 100 mark, but we're up to 192 now, which is always wonderful when we get up to the 198. We may hit the 200. Please, guys, I can just say, if you haven't, please hit the like button. And if you hit the subscribe and the alert button, even more, 201. So that was obviously a clip through the covers for that. So look, thanks, guys. We're having a really good discussion here. So I hope you'll stay and enjoy the chat with
and hit the subscribe button.
Callum and Scarfy. In fact, while I've got that on, I will say this, that if you haven't seen, can I find the earlier comments? Why can I not find the earlier comments? I can't find.
I think we need to get a younger admin for this. This is becoming ridiculous every weekend on that.
I'm trying to find the link to Scarfy's interview with Steve Perryman, but if I just say go on to
just scroll back up in the chat.
What?
Scroll back up in the chat.
Well, no, I just can't see it because it won't go all the way up. I don't know if it's the way. Well, I better rephrase that. I can't get it back to the start of the show. But anyway, let's get back to the.
Stop digging in. When you're in a hole, digging.
While we've got this huge audience, I don't want you all going away somewhere. 223 of you now, so thank you. Callum, stop giggling like a little girl. Sorry, that's very sexist. 45 minutes plus 5, and yet another set piece. Porro's corner, Van der Vaart too strong for Pickford, 2-0. I'll let you talk about it, but the one thing that, because of another header, I thought Porro's corner was exceptional. I mean, real Beckham-esque pace that he hit that in with.
Yeah, no, he definitely has Porro is definitely one of our better set piece takers, and it's very good when he heads it to Van der Ven on that. Van der Vaart, I think, retired a little while ago, mate, on that one. So I'll leave it at that. But no, very good to see Porro doing this, and we've got obviously Kudus doing it from the right. We've got Porro doing it from the left, and these in-swinging corners, just the pace on them is brilliant, and you could just see straight attack. It's all been planned and prepped for. So now, what more can we want? We've got attacking set pieces, which we've done so much better compared to last year. We've got goals being mixed around. We're actually scoring goals and keeping clean sheets. And realistically, this is what we wanted. So it kind of was a kick in the teeth for Everton because they'd kind of been growing into the game a little bit up until then. But I really couldn't care less, to be honest. We got a great goal, a whip into the box, and happy days for it, mate. And great thing to go into half-time 2-0 up.
Yeah, absolutely. Talking about sometimes games can change on small moments. And Adrian, let me bring you in then on this. Vicario he was exceptional on Wednesday against Monaco. Again, we could easily have gone down 4 or 5-0. But the saves he made and the time of them was critical. 54 minutes scissor kick that he got a really strong arm to. And then on 72 minutes, a shot, I'm not sure who it was by, but 2 deflections. And he get it and get the ball on the goal. 2 exceptionally good saves.
And he's come for crosses in the game as well. He did as well, yeah? Vicario, he's had his critics. We've all critiqued him when he hasn't done well. He's gone from being as nervous as a pregnant nun to a world beater, you know? He's looked. He was the first goalkeeper to get a 10 out of 10 during the week, and well deserved. 5 cracking saves. He made 2 saves in the Europa League final, and he made a mistake like he does when VDV shinned it off the line. It looked like it was going in. He's a very agile goalkeeper. People say he's a good shot stopper. Listen, all goalkeepers have got to be good shot stoppers. That's just a prerequisite of being a goalkeeper. He's got more about him than that. His distribution's crap, right? Let's be fair about it. And that can be worked on. I've noticed he's getting rid of the ball quicker and he's hitting a lot more long balls now.
Well, exactly.
Exactly. So he's like, I like him. He's fully Spurs, isn't he? That with him. And if he makes a mistake, you realise it and he'll go on. But he's got an error in him, but I don't know any goalkeeper in the Premier League hasn't got an error in him, and there isn't no one else better out there that's available, So we are where we are, and he's not a bad goalkeeper. He's a good goalkeeper. He's not world class or anything like that, but he is a very good goalkeeper. And on his day, he'll have outstanding performances like he did against,
Well, Harry, this time last week we just lost to Villa. Criticisms of his positioning for the Rodgers goal. Don't think there's much he could have done about the second, but there's talk we need another goalkeeper, we need an upgrade. We're also fickle. 7 days later, he's made a world-class performance in Monaco, probably made 8 saves, 5 of them probably world-class, and then 2 exceptional saves today, 2 clean sheets, a 0-0 draw and a 3-0 away victory. That's football.
That's football, and what a week for the Italian goalkeeper. Just honestly, superb for him. 2 clean sheets as well. And Monaco, let's be clear, single-handedly was the reason we didn't lose that game. And you can say what you like about our performance, but Vicario was the reason that we walked away with that 0-0 draw and nothing less than that. And in this game as well, against Everton, I thought he was superb. Beto, I remember a chance in particular, over a kick, very quick reactions, a couple that he saw late as well, because there were a couple of shots at him. So I think he's been fantastic. And I think overall, he's a goalkeeper that receives too much criticism. I think he's a bit mad, if I'm honest with you, but I think you have to be as well as a goalkeeper. Don't get me wrong, he's not perfect at all. And his distribution isn't up there with your Edison or anyone like that. Or we're talking like kind of, you go back last season, etc. It's not like where it is amongst the best goalkeepers in the world, but I think Vicario is good enough to be, a top 6 keeper. I don't buy that otherwise. I think people look at him and go, you're a little bit little, you get bullied a little bit easily, and okay, potentially, but I think for now, I don't think our problems lie with Vicario, put it that way. I think for now, he's a number 1, and I do think for the foreseeable future, I like Kinski. I think when he's come in, his distribution's been great, but he seems to go through his hands like they're not there, not being funny. So I think with Kinski, it's a game about patience. And, I'm sure Kinski is a great goalkeeper and will be, but Vicario for me is Tottenham's number 1 right now. And Kinski over time may be a more natural fit to Thomas Frank because his distribution is better. He's better playing out for the back. But Vicario has single-handedly kept us in games. And when you have a goalkeeper that is saving you, and the reason you're getting points, draws, wins, whatever, then you have to keep them in the team. There's no doubt about it. The question should be about how do we keep providing protection for Vicario. And I think now we've defended really well, and it's great. We need to keep that. We need to find a way of still keeping clean sheets, ideally regularly, maybe not as regular as this, but you get the point. Still getting clean sheets. Also now build defensively. How can we do more going forward? How can we get the most out of Xavi Simons? Who's going to be that starting player on the left-hand side? Because in my opinion, we rely on Mohamed Kudus too much, and that's full credit to Kudus. A lot of people are like, how's he going to fit in with Johnson as well? Well, he's absolutely made that position his, and rightly so. He's been superb, but we need to find a way in where we don't just rely on one player in our attack, because, we want to be achieving great things this season. We want to compete in all 4 fronts. You can't rely on one attacker, but Vicario, superb. What a week for him. And, even if things go wrong, he makes a mistake, we can't jump at him. I just feel like fans, say it this way, and part of me does mean it literally, that I think fans literally having drafts on social media, waiting to criticise players. It's waiting to call this player trash or tell. I think there's loads at the moment. There's always some with Johnson, Richarlison. I think Vicario, add that to your list. They're waiting for something to jump at. Back your player when they wear the shirt. Vicario's been a great goalkeeper, and what a signing as well for £17 million. Why do you think Fabio Paratici has been brought back to the club? He's been brought back for signings like this, low cost and high end products. So Vicario, great signing, and has been fantastic for us. So I don't buy it otherwise. And people are laughing about Johnson being superb. Well, single-hand, he won us the Europa League last year, and he's a top scorer in all competitions. So Johnson's been superb, and Kudus has just been another level.
Okay. Let me bring you in on this, Cal. You would almost think that Vicario had read the criticism online of him last week and thought, I'll prove those bastards wrong. I'll go out and show them he did.
Hands down, mate. Hands down. It's been a week for the Italian. And I was just looking at X at the moment, and realistically, 13 games we've had under Frank, 7 of them have been clean sheets. And I would say, what's Kinski played? 1 game. So we've got 1 game in that. So the other 5 clean sheets are from Vicario. We got 6 in the league last year under Ange. And now look at him. So, yeah, we're more solid defensively. But this man, I know he's a pain in the arse. I know he's eccentric. I know he's reactionary. I know he has a go at other people when they screw up in goal. But realistically, he is getting there. He is a good shot stopper. We know how good he can be. It's just like Adrian said, he can't kick a ball to save his freaking life. His kicking was suspect again today, but he didn't give us too many issues. But realistically, if he hadn't have helped us in Monaco, we could have lost that 20-0. And if we hadn't have had him today, we could have been on, just say we was 2-0 up at half time, weren't we? So before Sarr scoring, we'd have been 2-2 by 72 minutes in that because of that. I mean, I think even though the Beto bicycle kick was very good and what he did and contender for save of the season, if anything, I think the deflection one was more difficult to make because it took so many ricochets off of our own players. How was he to see that? I thought very, very good keeper. And today was a game that we needed for Vicario. So, no, plaudits to where it's due. I still think he's an erratic idiot. I still think that there was moments in this game where I think he could have been more calm and composed. But hands down, we need him. And he has to be there at the moment to do
that
it.
says something about his concentration and alertness. Because when that ball come off of Danso, I think it was the last deflection. I haven't watched the highlights back. I think it come off of Danso, didn't it? And his vision, he's got good vision as well. sometimes his position has been bad because sometimes when we concede the goal, I thought, you could have been half a yard to your left or right here, like, you know. But look, it's when you concede, it's easy to criticise, and then you look in what phase of play, and usually most Spurs fans, they'll blame the player they don't like in the phase of play that you conceded the goal rather than the real culprit, right? So yeah.
So I say good evening, Alan. Hope you're well.
Big up, Alan. See you Friday.
on the Friday night show. So Al, thanks for joining us. Last week I was incredibly critical of Frank's game management, not least at 1-0 down. He had two substitutes waiting to come on. He didn't bring them on, and we went 2 down. But credit where credit's due. I thought his game management against Monaco was top class. And I'm going to say again, Adrian, I'll bring you in on this. I thought it was excellent today. 60 minutes, Bergvall and Richarlison for Simmons and Muani. It seemed to me one was tactical, one was fitness. That Muani, I imagine it was only ever planned to give him an hour, given he's being
I mean, I think with Muani, he looks the real deal to me. Others might have different opinions on it. It's fair enough. But he looks the real deal. He presses. His hold-up play is good. He's got vision. He can play people in. I mean, he looks the real deal as a striker. His numbers are good wherever he's been, in Germany and Italy. And I think we've got a gem there. We'll see how well he does in other games, obviously. One swallow doesn't make a summer. So, and with Simmons, he's been hit and miss. He's finding his feet. He was off the pace in the first half. The game was just going past him, and when he got the ball, he was closed down too quick. He will adapt because he's very skillful. Actually, in the first 15 minutes, the second before it went off, I think he looked a little bit better. He started get his foot on the ball and put a couple of passes about. But it was a good. Frank got the subs right. He needed to come off. I mean, obviously Marnie must have been gassed, which is good because now he's got 60. So now we're looking for him to get 90 or 70 minutes or whatever. I mean, we've got a lot of games coming up quickly every 3 days, so we'll see how Frank adjusts.
Yeah, Harry, we'll come on to Newcastle, and I know you'll be doing a show. Harry, let me bring you in on this because I put this on one of the chat groups during the game. I think Simmons is going to turn out to be a very good player. But at the moment, I'm looking at Luka Modric, but I'm seeing Brian Gill. I'm seeing someone who's lightweight at the moment, albeit I think he's better than that. But how are you seeing it at the moment?
Firstly, ouch, that's very harsh. I mean, if he's listening to that, he's not going to be happy with you. I'll be coming after you, Ian, after that. But no, I get your point. He hasn't hit the ground running. I think it's very similar, and I never like these kind of comparisons with players settling in, but I think it is similar to the situation Liverpool find themselves in, or Florian Wirtz in particular, with his situation where, shiny player coming into a new league, a new country, and there is just something about the Premier League that is a bit different. Whether it's the pace of it, I'm not quite sure, but players take time to adjust. There are a few that do, of course, break that trend. I think when Haaland come to the Premier League, quite quickly he found his feet. STK at Liverpool, I think, just needed a couple of weeks, and he's now slowly starting to really improve, and some would even say did hit the ground running. So I think Simmons, it hasn't been perfect, but at the same time, we don't expect him to be up here straight away. But there are some things, that was a basic pass today, where I'm surprised nobody had too much of a go at him. Maybe they recognise it needs time, which is good if that's the case. But I think we're in behind. We're going away on the counter. Commentary picked up on this. Spence to his left. He's got Muani up top. Kudus on the right. We're in, and that's a good goal scoring opportunity. He just doesn't release the pass. I think then slips and we lose the ball. Having said that, Simmons, and people are saying it in the chat, and they're absolutely right. Simmons needs time. There's no need to jump. I think he's a very bright player. I still think he's a big signing. You can tell from everything you've seen of him as well in the past. So there's no need to jump to conclusions. But at the same time, I would say two things, and they do caveat each other. So it's hard to get that balance. It's a good headache for Frank to have with all these options. But with Simmons, you've got to find a way of you giving him as many minutes as possible. to get up to scratch with the Premier League, to get used to playing with these teammates. It's a new country, it's a new league, it's a new team, it's new teammates, it's a new system too under a new manager. So many things are different. So minutes are the best way you can improve and get up to scratch. But at the same time, you don't want to force someone in there when they're not playing their best for the sake of the team, but also for the player. Because you could see Simmons, he was not happy when he come off, and you hope that's he's like, I'm not happy with my performance, I want to improve and get better, which I'm sure it is. But at the same time, you don't want a deflated player because you're playing them and forcing them in when they're not at their best. I think Simmons, give him a little bit of time to settle into life in England and in the Premier League, and then you really start to use him. I think we don't want to force him because of our injury problems in that 10 role, if that makes sense. It's getting that fine balance, which is difficult. Yeah. But no, he hasn't hit the ground running, but, not many players do, but we just need to be very, very patient with him.
When Modric came to Spurs, the coaches played him out on the left till he could be trusted to play in the middle, in the central position. You have to have trust to play in the centre. You do not want to be giving a ball away in the centre and people running through your middle. So I've been saying it for a couple of weeks. I think his future is in a 10 position where he'll compete with Maddison and Cool if Maddison comes back. But I think he should play out on the left if Odegaard's not there until he earns the right to play through the middle. And you made a good point about the Liverpool player Wirtz. The same, you could say the same about Isak. Isak has come from counter-attacking Newcastle side to a front foot Liverpool side. And that makes a big difference in the space you get, because when you're breaking quickly, you're on the ball. You're not, when you're on a front foot side, defenders are waiting for you. So he's adjusting. I've got no qualms about Simmons smashing it eventually. But again, as Spurs fans, we're tired of waiting. We're tired of works in progress. And I get the fan base's angst when it comes to it. But I watched Simmons in Germany. I mean, and I've watched videos of him, not full games, but enough. And for Holland, he scored against England, didn't he? When we done him in the Euros, we did win that game, I think. He's an undoubted talent, and we all want him to be a success. I'm sure he will, but we're waiting. We're waiting on it, aren't we?
We live in an era, Cal, where people just want instant gratification. If a player's not a great player in 3 games, he's written off as a dud. When it's almost like your first week in the new company, and someone says to you, "Well, you're not up to much, son." And you go, "Well, hang on a minute, I've just got here. I haven't even finished my induction yet."
Yeah, people like the nice shiny new thing, and when the nice shiny new thing doesn't work, shiny new thing becomes shiny piece of crap out there, and that's unfortunately how our fan base is. But realistically, it's like Adrian said, how Modric was integrated, and then we were saying it on the chat groups as well earlier that Simmons is having to carry the weight of 3 number 10 players in there. He's the only fit number 10 in the club, and no matter how much people say Sarr is not a 10, Bergvall is not a 10, Archie Gray is not a 10, we have one natural 10 for that position that can stay fit at the moment, and he's meant to carry the whole team creatively. I feel sorry for the poor bastard, to be honest, because realistically, he is carrying the weight of creativity on us because we can't create from anywhere else apart from set pieces at the moment, can we? So realistically, the pressure is immense on him.
We're married. Sorry. His mum's just phoned me. Anyway, sorry. Sorry. Right. Okay. Yeah. Right. Sorry, Cal. I shouldn't have interrupted you there.
That's all right.
I want to talk about Moani because you took and Harry, I'll bring you back in there because Cal's talking about he's the only 10. I thought for the first time this season, I've seen a number 9 playing as a number 9, holding the ball up, bringing other people into play, taking the pressure off the defence. And I thought his performance was a breath of fresh air. And I thought we missed him badly when he went off.
100%, and I 100% agree with that. Yes, I think Moani, great to see him. I think breath of fresh air is the term you used. I think that's a perfect analysis already. And, you could just tell, couldn't you, when you brought him on against Monaco, that, this lad is going to be very, very useful, comes in, holds the ball up, draws players in. And, there's just something about him. And I looked at Moani when we brought him in, and I'm like, he's either going to flop or he's going to thrive. I don't see an in-between with him. He's that type of player. It's that type of signing. And I think he is going to really hit peak form. again, I love to keep using the word caveat tonight, so I want to say maybe in contrast to that, and it isn't necessarily to do with Moani, but Solanke, I think this could be huge this season for him when he comes back, because we talk about, and you've all mentioned it tonight in different bits, whether you've explicitly said it or not, but more balls are going into the box under Thomas Frank. Solanke at Bournemouth was a superb player, top player. You know, it's a fact where Liverpool, I'm sure, would have been regretting they let him go. They put a lot of balls into the box, and he thrived from being the central man and holding up the play. But his game under Ange Postecoglou was so different. I can't remember that when we put the ball in the box, it was all ball to feet, hold the ball up, bring someone in, touchline wingers. That doesn't suit Solanke. Whereas Frank would just say, plant yourself in the box. Yeah, Mohamed Kudus, Pedro Porro, whoever it may be, Johnson will deliver the ball to you, stay in that position. So for me, I look at him and go, if I'm being totally honest with you, Ian, I think I see him being, out of anyone that we've got, the starting striker for Tottenham regularly, the most regular anyway. But I look at Kyle Mwani and go, you're a top player. And I haven't seen Mwani, I'm going to be honest with you, enough in his career to know whether he can play on that left-hand side. But someone made the case of going, yeah, but if he can do a good enough job that he can as a striker, because I know when he's brought in, some Spurs fans are apprehensive. I know he has played there, but I don't know in terms of like how good he's been in that position. I should have phrased it better. So that's something that we need to look at as well. But we've got a lot of strikers at the club. It's have we got the quality? People forget about Dane Scarlett. They forget Tellier is a striker as well. So you've got a lot at the club, as well as Richarlison, Solanke, Mwani. The list just goes on. And there isn't going to be, like, when I say I think Solanke be the starting striker, doesn't mean he's going to start the next 40 games when he's back in all competitions. It just means you're going to have someone that's going to start the majority of your games. So I see the competition being between Solanke and Mwani, who I believe are our best two in terms of quality on paper. I love Richarlison, by the way, to be clear, for example, but he goes hot and cold, and he's that's rude, and he's going to get injured at some point. So, and he also can play the left-hand side. So we have a lot of versatility, a lot of options, a lot of rotation. Do we have the quality? Not sure.
Okay, let me come in here because there's been, I don't know if there's a second raid come in, but the numbers suddenly flew up again. If you are new to the channel or you haven't liked us, like the station, please like the broadcast. Makes a big difference to us. And if you like what we're talking about, please subscribe. We go out 3 times a week on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, depending upon when our Champions League game is. A Friday previewing the weekend game, and then this time on a Sunday night to discuss the weekend's fixture that we've just had, as we're doing tonight, reviewing the Everton game. So please, we do pride ourselves on mature content that's not have some of the vitriol that some of the channels have. So we like to keep it that way. So if you do like what we're talking about, do like the channel, do subscribe. Helps us grow enormously. Callum, I mean, your take on Mwani today?
I was really happy with him for about 45 minutes, sort of thing. You could see he was getting a bit leggy by the time that he was taken off. It was actually nice to have a focal point, to be honest. And I know H is a big fan of Richarlison, but I mean, I am sick and tired of seeing that pigeon flying all over the place and doing a lot of, excuse my French, fuck all, to be honest. A lot of running and fuck all else, to be honest. That's all he does for me. And realistically, having Mwani there, he was pressing forward, he was up in front of the defence, he was trying to make things happen. And what that then means is it means that our front players have a focal point of who to get into the box. Richarlison doesn't know whether he plays as a striker, a left winger, right winger, centre attacking mid. He's in the wrong positions all the wrong time. Mwani was in the right positions at the right time today. It didn't fully come off for him, but realistically, it's like Adrian has said, we've seen clips of him and he looks the business. He looks like someone who is there to make an impact. And realistically, today he showed that to me, to be honest, compared to when Richarlison came on in all honesty, I mean, what did he do? He did one good thing where he tricked Tarkowski, and the rest of it was a lot of huffing and puffing and sweet FA else. And it's just, he's such a frustrating player.
I mean, I call Richarlison a Subbuteo player because the ball gets whacked at him and it just deflects off in every direction. But let me bring you in on this thought, Adrian. That actually, if you have Moani playing through the front, through the top, Richarlison is far more dangerous playing on the left, and with somebody big and strong like that alongside him, can be more effective if he's fit.
If he was playing on the left and we're away at PSG, I get that. I really get that, because like he can help block the left hand side up because he's got the physicality. You know, it's not a game we're going to go to and like win after the international break. We got Arsenal, then we got PSG, two nice away games, right? So yeah. So if in certain games to help us, because he will power on, he does try to take his man on. He's not a pacey, dribbly type winger. He uses aggression and what pace he's got, and he's not slow to get past, but he just hasn't got enough end product. I mean, and when Ian, I mean, we've seen so many strikers over the decade at Spurs that are better than him and Solanke, to be honest. Miani's looking like the best striker we've got at the moment on the little we've seen in the Premier League of him. And that's a sad indictment, really, when you look at it deeply. It is a sad indictment. We should have better than that. We used to go back when we'd have 4 top strikers at the club, not struggling to have 1 or 2. But if Miani hits his straps and Solanke does, then we can start dreaming a bit more about this season. Because although we're third, it could quite easily come apart. On the other hand, we could start smashing it. I did make a banner in there I want to bring up later, but when you've done as a last thing, because I think it's a good evaluation banner, but we'll see.
Let's move on a little bit. 76, and this is again goes back, Harry, to Thomas Frank's game management today, which I said I was critical of him last Sunday. So credit where credit's due. You've frightened Callum off, Harry, I think. But bringing you in on this, that he brought Sarr on for Kudos. The one sort of clearly defensive change. There's an old saying, I think it goes back to Herbert Chapman at Arsenal in the 1930s, what we have, we hold. And I just got the feeling that was him saying, we're not quite closing up shop, but we are going to keep it even tighter. We'll stick with 2-0 and we'll carry on for the last 14 minutes plus stoppage time with what we've got. How did you feel about that?
Yeah, exactly. No, I think you're right, and I felt positively about it. I think it's an opportunity where he looked at it when shut up shop, and he done it against Monaco, didn't he, with that change just to secure the 0-0. And I know it's going to be frustrating at times because, you know, we have this idea at the club of playing beautiful football, representing Sederis to do. I think that's fantastic, and of course should always be represented. But when you concede as many goals as we did last season, the number one priority, and I said it before tonight, and I'll say it again, has to be keeping clean sheets and conceding less goals. Frank's come in and done that. And I promise you, you know, by the end of the year, we'll be looking at a team that presses a lot more, is more attacking, more like the Frank principles, more like the Tottenham principles that we know and love. But sometimes in games, you've got to go, that's a good point. Or, you know, we show good mentality to get back in the game. Or, you know, you've got to balance both of them. But at the same time, I think we've been accepting too many draws this year. Like Wolves at home is not a good result. Even if we come back late, that's not a good result. The more you look back on it now, so there's again 2 sides to it, because I always like to consider both sides. But no, you're right, to answer your question, Ian. I think that was a key point in the game when we did shut up shop and we talk about good game management, which we'll get on to. Sarr then scores to complete, you know, kind of the win, the cherry on top. And Sarr's a player that I think has been up here this year, and it's a shame he got the injury and whatever else has gone on. Back in Senegal, I've read something to do with a player that's unfortunately passed away there. I'm sure that will, of course, affect him because he's that kind of, you know, guy, isn't he? He takes everything to heart, and it's a loving guy as well. But Sarr's been fantastic, and we've got a lot of options in midfield, and sometimes we can sit in and, you know, kind of protect, and that's what's, yeah, also very good. And we have 2 top number 6s often start together in Bentancur and Paulinho. So you should always have, whatever team you are, attacking, defensive, whatever, you know, long ball team, counter-attacking team, you have to have a player or an idea or a system where you go, sometimes you just got to protect what you have. And reality is, Ange's football is easy on the eye, great to watch at times, but it's not sustainable. Whereas this is, at the moment, with Thomas Frank, it wins you games, and it's just sensible. The club's aim is to compete on all 4 fronts. You have to go about it on a game-by-game basis, adapting for your opponent's different game plan each game. Because what I like about it is, it'll be the same with your channel. I certainly can't with my channel. It's nearly impossible to predict Thomas Frank. And we spend all day doing it. So you hope, we know nowhere near as much as the coaches, but you hope it's as difficult for them to try and predict that Thomas Frank can do. It's nice not knowing, the way we're going to play, the way we're going to set up. So, and he can turn defensive at any point. So that was Frank accepting the result. And what I like as well, we saw Ruben Amorim the other day with United, and I'm not digging at him at all, but they're 3-0 up against Brighton. But they make changes to say the game's done just after the hour mark, and they pull it back Brighton to 3-2. Well, he too easily thought the game was done, whereas Frank doesn't do that here. Wait. And he won't, rest players will be silly. He'll just be slightly more defensive. So I think his in-game management generally across his career has been very, very good. And now we need to see the Frank attacking principles that we saw at Brentford, because they were known for taking the game to the big teams, being bold, being proudly attacking and proudly pressing. We'll see that over time. But Ian, so far, we've seen a shut-up shot and take what we have. And today was a good example of that, getting all 3 points, because it wasn't easy at times. And, you felt if Everton scored 1 goal before we got the third, I'm talking, they got 1, we're in trouble. There's no doubt about it. Heads drop and they push on Everton.
100%, Harry. They were saying it on commentary, and you just know 2-0, that most deceptive lead in football. 2-0, you're cruising. 2-1, you're struggling. And you knew if they scored 1, we were going to be in for a tough afternoon. I'll just say a special good evening to Anthony, however you pronounce it, an Everton fan. Spurs were class, we were shite. Yeah, I think some of the Evertonians have been a little bit harsh. I think.
I thought they played well.
You get the rub of the green at times. That goal gets allowed. Couple of saves from Vicario. What's the name? The right winger, and I've just forgotten his name. The one that went past Spence in the second minute.
And Illiman and Die.
And Guy, yeah. I mean, if that goes in, that goes in. You're 1 up. It's a different game. I just think, games like this, Anthony, change on small moments and small margins. And much as I'm really impressed with how we played today and how we defended it and how we countered, I think we got the luck at the crucial times. And that's often the way when you analyse a game of football back. I think I said earlier, one of your fellow Evertonians was on earlier. I said, I think you'll play worse than that, than you did today, and win football matches. It just happens. Our day was in. But Adrian, let's bring you back in then. How did you feel overall today then about Frank's game management?
I thought his game management was good. It wasn't a pretty watch, and it shows, even though this player's coming for criticism, although I love Danso, he's an excellent squad member, it shows how much we miss Richarlison. He's a Rolls Royce. We miss his passing. Miss his long ball. Romero. We miss Romero. Got the R's the wrong way around, right? I'm not rolling my R's, right? So, well, I mean, because even a few games, I mean, stats show that when and VDV are playing together, we win more games than we lose. And today, we've won a game. But, I mean, I'm a big fan of Romero. Some fans aren't. That's fair enough. But just his pass and his range of passing, we missed that. Danso's, we need to see more of Danso. At times he looks a bit clunky on the ball, and other times, but he don't make too many errors. His short passing's okay. He had a good game today, though. He did have a good game today.
Today. All right, we've got a couple of things to talk about. I said to Harry we'd be about an hour and a half, so I'll try and run to that, or not much more. Over 250 of you watching. Thank you so much. I can't tell you how much we work hard on this.
Hit the subscribe button in the bottom right-hand corner, please.
Please hit the like button.
Yeah, we've got to keep funding Ian's holidays. Every subscribe goes towards that, because me and Adrian suffer for it.
Yeah, you have no idea how many hours go in for how little return, Cal. But there you go. If I did this for the money, I would be a poor man. That is for certain. But Cal, let me bring you in, because you've been away for a couple of minutes. lovely third goal. Break up that right-hand side. Club was in loss of possession by Everton, but lovely break up the right-hand side. Long ball from Porro to Richarlison. It was a glorious cushioned header into Sarr, who just, good morning, and into the net for 3-0. I thought it was a simple but lovely goal, Cal.
Yeah, very nice way to end the game, wasn't it? And even better, half the Everton fans had already gone home for it. So it was only the Spurs travelling fan base who got to see it. But no, really, really nice goal. It's what we've all been crying out from Sarr for. We've all been saying he should be in the team playing. And I think he got his reward for it today, to be honest. So, no, really nice long ball. Richarlison, for all his crap in the game, that was probably his only good moment for me. And then Sarr just took it nicely. Obviously, a lot of people were on Sarr's back after the goal saying, why didn't he celebrate? Well, the Senegal team have had one young player die this week after something bad happened. So there's been some speculation in regards to that as well. So I think that Sarr took it well, and he just wanted to get on with the game, to be honest, but really, really good for it.
Going back to Richarlison, Harry, let me bring you in before I bring Adrian in this. This was where I was sort of alluding to about Richarlison playing left rather than playing as the centre forward, whereas I say the Sabudia man with the ball cannons off him. I thought he took a lovely position. He brought himself wider the right sided defender, found the space, and then was able to cushion the header. I just thought it was a lovely bit of play by Richarlison.
It was, and you make a good point. I think you're right to highlight that because we have a lot of striker depth. Like I said, I'll leave it up to fans to decide whether we've got the quality or not. I think that will show, hopefully, over time, either way, hopefully in a positive way that we have. I'm not totally convinced, though. But left wing position right now hasn't been taken by anyone. For me, in terms of, I see it as like an audition, and Odobez made a very good kind of case for himself. I think he's growing in confidence game by game, improving. Whether he's got the quality, I don't quite know, but what we've seen, I think, has looked quite promising. Richarlison, by all means, can take that position. Simmons, why not? If he can't quite thrive in a 10 position, because Adrian mentions it there in terms of, do you start on that left-hand side, gain a bit of confidence, gain that trust, then move back in to that 10 role. But Richarlison, I mean, we look at his time, in particular at Watford, but also for Everton. In my opinion, he was the best when he was at left wing. Absolutely was the best at left wing. And, Everton had Calvert-Lewin down the middle, whoever they had, and Watford as well. I mean, he mostly did play for Watford down the middle. When he did play on the left, I thought it was very good. Richarlison, I've literally defended him so many times, but I think you get to a point with a player where you go, they're always going to be hot and cold. Yeah, they've got what feels like lifelong injury problems that will come and go, even if they're better with a manager that, is going to not play as gun-ho football, and you're not going to get injured as much generally across the board. I look at Richarlison and go, if Tottenham wants to get to that next level, it's harsh, but you're going to have to move him on. It pains me to say that, and I think a lot of the pressure that's on Richarlison is because of the price tag, and I think like we get there, he influences the game. He's a good player, but you need players that you can rely on. You can't achieve the club's goal, and it's still here. The aim stays the same with the Levy not being here, and that is in the long term to achieve sustained success. You can't be having Richarlison, who's hot and cold, to rely on. And you could say the same at the moment for Matthias Tower, though I think we should give him more time. And I don't want to turn this into a negative discussion, but the point is with Richarlison, I think right now we look at, hopefully Solanke comes back, but in particular Moani, and you go, they are starting over you at the moment. But Richarlison's a player, I think, for now, for the short term, we can lose off the bench, probably on that left-hand side. So I think you're right to make the point, Ian, but we need to find more in attack. We're putting balls into the box. We need to be finishing these chances, but we also need to be creating more. I'm all for defending, shine up shop. We need to do more going forward. Set pieces are great. We've got to think about next time we play Everton, let's imagine they deal with our set pieces. How are we going to win this game? Are we going to rely on that late style goal? Will we even get to that position if other goals stand? You talk about lucky, and you're right, going in other ways. So we've got to, find a way to do better now going forward. Frank will tick off, I think, for now, and we can't neglect it, can't leave it. It's an ongoing kind of problem. We solved our defensive issues for now. We're keeping clean sheets. We look so much better in the defensive department in every area. Now it's about how do we build going forward, and I think rejuggling the players is critical. I think Richarlison right now should be finding himself on the bench, but a player that can impact the game.
Cal, just Just for Adrian, did you want to come in there?
Yeah, I mean, like, to me, we're coming up to January. The club probably won't do this. I would sell Richarlison, because if you got Moani and Solanke, and I'd be bringing Will Lancashire back. I really would, because he's doing the business. And because Richarlison, he's got no future at this football club. He's just not good enough. And we can talk about price tags. It's not a question of the price tag. Fans will have a pop at him because of the price tag. They'll expect more. But with or without the price tag, he's not good enough. He's just not good enough for this football club. So
He's not, but what I mean is when you come for, 50 million including add-ons, it's probably, he might have got to 60 million, then you're right. He just has that pressure on the player. And it was the same with Brennan Johnson. Even if they were performing okay, as soon as they take a dip, it's, we paid that amount for you. And we're seeing it with Simmons as well right now. It's like, hang on, this is our gem. It's our summer signing. Where is he? Whereas I think we should take that out from the club, hold them to account for it, not the player. Does that make sense?
We brought him in, though, to be honest. We brought him in. And now we shouldn't be saying a club like Spurs shouldn't be talking about backup players. I've said this seasons and seasons ago. With Tottenham Hotspur, we shouldn't be talking backup. But what we did, we bought in a £60 million backup. It might be 50 actually. It might be over exaggerating it because without the add-ons, which Everton aren't getting, it's probably about 50 mil. But it's backup to Kane, right? Because not many top class strikers want to come to this club and be second fiddle to Kane at the time. So it was an expensive mistake, basically. What has he done in the time that he's been here? He's had a couple of patches. He's looked good. Scored a few goals in Europe. He's just look. The strikers I've seen at this club through the decades, look, we bought him out of desperation because the pressure was on the club to bring someone in, right? But we have failed much better in the transfer market recently. We have failed much better. The 4 players we brought in this season are good. And we brought in Udogie and we brought in Bergvall and we brought in Gray and all that. They're all going to be good for us, even though we're waiting for them to develop properly. They'll all be good for us. But Richarlison, bye.
For hours about the transfer window, and I think we've got weeks to do that. Cal, just for completeness, let me get you in. 90 plus 1, tell for Johnson, just winding back the clock or winding down the clock. But a comment you may have picked up from Gary Neville on commentary talking about Tottenham really looked like they enjoy defending. That's not something you normally hear about Tottenham teams, Cal.
No, I mean, we've been more open than God knows what in the last couple of years, haven't we? It's been open season when you play against us. So to actually have that is quite a compliment. If you're going to go for it, if you really want to dig deep into that, we'd have to say that realistically, we are tough to beat. We are tough to score against. And I know we've had some crap games like against Aston Villa and Wolves and Brighton half a game as well. Realistically, we are hard to score against. And I'm glad of that, to be honest. Frank came in and said he was going to build from the back and get us solid from the bottom and then deal with the midfield and then deal with the front line. I think we're getting there. We're not perfect, but we're getting there, aren't we? So realistically, hands down, this is what we want. We want clean sheets. We want to not be playing suicide ball where the aim is to outscore the opposition. To be honest, it might not be entertaining, but I really don't care at the moment. I want a solid back line, which we've had so many years under Pochettino, because we know the last couple of managers we ain't.
Harry, Adrian was critical of Danso before. It's a criticism I just can't agree with at all. I've just seen stats.
I said he was good today, but he's not as good as Romero.
Well, okay, there's not many are, but he made 18 clearances. And I just thought his defending was absolutely heroic today. Yeah. He just wasn't prepared to be beaten to any ball in any circumstances.
Yeah, do you know what the funny thing is? You're both right here. This is what the funny thing is. Ian, you're absolutely right. You played well. And I think also, Adrian has a valid concern about we miss Romero. And I think what we miss about Romero is, I would say leadership, because he's a huge leader, but Van der Ven for me has filled that gap superbly. Mm-hmm. We miss his progressive passes. And it's just finding gaps and thinking forward. And you have to be a little bit more defensive naturally when you haven't got Romero. But I'll say it now, and I mean this, when have we ever had as good of a third centre back, and I might come back to regret this if I can't think of someone on the top of my head. But the point is, he's an unreal. Again, I totally agree with you, Adrian. Don't let's use the word backup, but strength in depth centre back, I call him. You know, kind of your step in centre back is another way of putting it. And he's just superb. And Frank, over the course of his career, in particular at Brentford, like to go to a back three. Danso, I feel confident in doing that. Danso is reliable, and Adrian's right. When's this guy made a mistake? He was thrown into the deep end at times last season, and he coped with it really well. It was only right that he was permanent, and I think he's been fantastic. So we have 3 fantastic centre backs in Romero, Van der Ven, and Danso, and Draxler. I know he's got his fair share of criticism. A lot of it is deserved, but if he can find the right manager in the right form, there is definitely a really good centre back in there, no doubt about it. Luka Vuskovic to come in the future. Well, we talk about gems. I mean, look no further than Luka Vuskovic, and Adrian's mentioned it. If he goes to the other end of the pitch in attack, we'll lack sheer. So this team is really exciting for the future. So we've got really good players now. We've got really good players to come. So those that are getting impatient, I just go, really? Thomas Frank is the right manager for young players. It's the right players, a guy for this team. So everywhere you look, he's just positive. And Danso, I think, has got a really bright future. He's going to be used. If we want to compete on all 4 fronts, you've got to use a player like Danso. Superb.
Thanks, Harry. I was just going to bring Adrian in on the one player that you mentioned, and there's still Vuskovic to come in. And everything I'm seeing, I don't know if Phil's still in the chat, who's based in, I think he's in Frankfurt, he's certainly in Germany.
Hamburg.
Who? Phil's in Frankfurt.
No, Vuskovic is at Hamburg.
Yeah, no. I'm talking about.
It's a mate of ours is based out of Frankfurt, but he watches a lot of German football, so he would follow all Hamburg stuff.
But
You can tell me how to mate.
He's given Cal and I have both got a mate apart from each other. Harry. The stats that are coming out of Germany for Vuskovic are something exceptional.
Yeah,
I mean, winning, when he's winning 17 out of 18 duels, and key tackles, and the numbers for a boy are just absolutely exceptional in what is, let's be honest, a very, very, very good league.
Yeah, he's won more headers than anyone else in Europe. Apart from the home defeat to Bayern when they got spanked 5-0, since that game, he's been awesome for them. And this is why, while we're being linked with very manly dog before the January transfer window and got hot up in the international break in November, this is why any links with defenders, as far as I'm concerned, unless it's a fullback, are just total BS. Because this kid has got to be part of his squad next season. He has to be.
Let's talk about man of the match. Cal, probably no argument that it's going to be Van der Ven, but I have to give special mentions to Danso, Bentancur, and Palhinha, who in a team of very, very good performances, I thought were all exceptional.
Yeah, I think for the fact he scored 2 goals and he was the captain as well, you've got to give it to Van der Ven. But yeah, special mentions to Danso. He was a monster at the back, seems to win everything. The only thing I don't like about him, his long throws are not effective from my point of view at the moment. Bentancur and Palhinha definitely stepped up. These probably last 2 games were more comfortable for them compared to others that they've had in the last couple of weeks. They've been more suited to it. So, yeah, Van der Ven, hands down. But the others did themselves a lot of credit in this performance. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, VDV for me. If it wasn't VDV, it would be Bentancur. I know Ian don't like him. But
No, it's a lie. That's a lie.
I only did that because you did that with me again.
We can always bait you, Ian. We can always bait you.
I was getting my own back.
How often do I say when Bentancur plays well, Spurs play well?
All the bloody time, Ian. All the bloody time.
Who hasn't heard me say that? And Bentancur played very well today.
I was just getting you out, and you bit.
No, but he hasn't been good in the home match. He hasn't played about the home stuff, and then Newcastle before
I just want to bring up one banner which I think is interesting because I was thinking about this today. I'll bring it up because Frank, we've critiqued him and we've praised him. But look at this. Spurs joint first for goals scores 17. Joint second for goals conceded 7. And I put, so to you guys, Frank's quiet revolution going unnoticed? Going unnoticed, guys, or what? This is one of my shit banners, Ian, by the way, as you said earlier.
No, it's fine.
I don't think it's going unnoticed. It's just people are still freaking negative and all that. They don't look at this. They just go, "Oh, we're playing boring football. Frank shouldn't be playing how Brentford play." Well, Brentford played bloody brilliantly against Liverpool last night, didn't they? So realistically, that's what we want here. And Frank has already said there is major problems here. So we are going about it in a quiet, conservative way. And I really couldn't care less what half the fan base says on X, to be honest. We are all podcasters. We all have our own opinions of it. But realistically, the stats don't lie. We're third in the league at the moment. We're only behind freaking Sunderland and Arsenal of all the bloody teams to be behind. But the whole top four is
Dial Square have been mentioned on this show tonight, which is enough, right? Dial Square, Woolwich Arsenal, Royal Arsenal, right? It's the third time the Woolwich Wanderers have been mentioned. It's 3 times too much, in my opinion.
Well,
Harry,
I am sorry for that.
I have to say, Harry, and I'll bring you in on this. I think it's absolutely perfect to be just going under the radar, because let's be honest, if we'd have got a couple of draws out of those games, we'd be in second. I'm talking about the 3. Sorry, just those games. Bournemouth, Wolves should have been beaten. Everybody's beaten bloody Wolves apart from us, and then Villa. Two worldies they scored, but again, I thought tactically, Frank didn't respond quickly enough. So even if we'd have got 2 draws and a win from those games, we're suddenly level on points with Arsenal. I'm quite happy that we're just that little bit behind, under the radar, just slowly but surely and methodically building on what we're doing. The training ground work's paying off. And if there's idiots on X that want to say Frank out, well, to hell with them. They're idiots. I can't waste time on idiots.
No, don't. Do not waste your time. You're absolutely right there. And I don't want to burst any bubble or anything, and I'd love to be proven wrong, but I think we have to distance ourselves from Arsenal. I think the comparisons in terms of what they're doing well is for the future is great, but we're not competing with them, right? They're going to finish above us. They're in for a pretty good season. A certain club are doing very well. Hopefully they don't go on and win the title, but our aim is not there. We're nowhere near there. We're behind with trajectory on so many different levels. Whoever you want to hold account to that, I leave it up to you. But that's not where our fight is. And, we're doing very well, don't get me wrong, but I think a lot of it is we find ourselves like we're third, we were second. You have to go back a couple of weeks ago. That's not where we're going to end the season. It's where we want to be in the future. Got to look at the bigger picture. When Frank was appointed, even the most optimistic Spurs fans are going, let's get back into the top 6 and build from there. But now people are very quick to forget, and it is fickle, but it's also short-term memory, loss, really, that we get to this position. Because everything less than what we've got now, Ian, is seen as a negative. But you're right, we're going about it under the radar and improving very well. There are legitimate concerns I have, as well as other fans I'm sure will have, like our home form, like going forward. But I think over time, these will improve. There's no quick fix to conceding the amount of goals we did last season. It was a good season because we won a trophy, but it was no quick fix. We conceded so many goals. And if Frank just come in and played his way, attacking football, high press, even the high line, there was at times with Brentford, not quite like Ange, but honestly, it was bold at times. I used to watch Brentford a lot. If he'd done that, then we concede so many goals. It would be no different to Ange, and he'd be out the door before we even had got to have this conversation. No. So he had to come in. He had to be sensible. You had to look at him, be manly almost, and go, look, I'm going to be an adult here. And what's the sensible thing to do? What's Tottenham's number one problem that we all know, and that's conceding goals. So, yeah, we're doing really well, Ian. It's great. They're going to be bumps in the road. We've got tough fixtures at the moment. Before the international break and after, we're going to lose games. We're going to drop out even probably the top 6 at some point. But we've got to be patient, back Frank and back the team, and trust what he does as well. We don't always agree with everything.
There was a comment I made today. This is the first. We had Palhinha, we had Muani, we had Simmons, and we had Kudus. 4 new signings in the starting 11 today for the first time. and we win 3-0. So that says we're buying the right players. But just, Cal, let me bring you in on this, because third in the league, but Chelsea are ninth, beat us on Saturday, and they go above us. It's a table at the moment. Yeah, maybe, but then again, if we beat them and Sunderland don't win, we go second and what have you. Maybe it is a false table. It's quite tight, and it's a typical Premier League table season, Cal. Everybody's capable of beating everybody else.
Well, look at that. I mean, Liverpool are four straight defeats at the moment. No team has ever had 4 straight defeats after winning a league title and retained it. So, I mean, it proves anyone can beat anyone in the Premier League. Yes, it could be a false table. We won't know anything until December, January, I think, realistically, because City lost to Villa. We lost to Villa last weekend. We beat City earlier in the season. So it's a false reality and a false position, but you take what you get. And realistically, Bournemouth have played some of the best football this year. They're second. Them lot of gypsies who moved into North London are first at the moment. So realistically, they're there. We're third. I really don't care until the end of the season where we are. But realistically, we go away. We play Chelsea at home next weekend at 5:30 kickoff. I hope we strangle them out of a game. And even if we get a draw, I'd bloody take it, because I'm not sitting through another 4-2 pasting like what we've had the last 2 years. But if we beat them, then happy days. But I don't want to lose on a massive scale and make us look like a bunch of mugs at our own stadium.
But this is a big win to give us confidence, though, Callum and Harry and Ian, because we've got Newcastle away Wednesday, but that's the Carabao Cup. But then we've got 3 home games. It is Chelsea at home. It is Copenhagen at home. It is Man United at home before the international break.
Yeah.
So if Moani's fit and Slanky's back and he gets 20 minutes, half hour in some of these games, when we come back to face, like Arsenal away and then PSG away after the international break, we want Solanke and Moani on form. We want them fit for that. Then we can start dreaming. But I'm not delusional. As much as I'm a very positive Spurs fan, we're not winning the league or the Champions League. But it doesn't mean one-off game at Newcastle. We could go up there and win that. We could go and win that. It's a one-off game. We could get spanked. Same thing again.
I'll come on to Newcastle to finish, Adrian. Harry, how do we sort the home form? Because as Adrian says, we've now got 3, having had a little run of away games, which will conclude with Newcastle. We've got, as Adrian says, we've got Copenhagen. We've got Chelsea, Copenhagen, and then we've got
Man
United. I'm planning on coming down for that, by the way. So let's talk about
this.
Oh,
great. Just what we wanted.
How do we sort this home form out?
Great question. I don't think there's any simple fix. It's not an immediate fix. It's not the answer people want to hear. But for me, it's about finding the right balance in the team. And I'll be honest with you, I hold my hands up. I got it wrong today. I didn't think starting Bentancur and Paulinho was right, but they bounced off each other really well. So I'm thinking of, or coming to the conclusion that Bentancur and Paulinho away from home, where you're a little bit more conservative, a little bit more shut up shop, a little bit more defensive, is the right thing to do. But at home, I referenced it, I believe, earlier, but Wolves at home, that's a game where you don't need Bentancur and Paulinho starting together. That's an opportunity for a bit more creativity, a bit more energy, a bit more attacking will, if you like. So it's about finding the right balance. And I just feel like we're too defensive at home, and we go with this approach of let's not lose the game. And it's in the players' mind. We can't lose, we mustn't lose. And I just think that's what a lot of the problem is. We went to go and win and played our football. I think our home form will be a lot better. Away from home, I think there's less expectation on the team. And that's what a lot of it is. So they would sit back and go, look, a point's a lot better. Whereas at home, they look at it and go, okay, a point isn't as good. At the same time, we don't want to lose. I just think it just comes back to a vicious cycle. I believe a lot of it, to answer your question, is like mentality. So I think over time that can be fixed. But I just think we need to play slightly differently, home and away. I'm not talking anything dramatic or drastic, but if we have Wolves at home again, if we're presented with that opportunity, a club that are poor, being funny, every side in the Premier League is a decent side, I should say, but they're the worst of a good bunch, okay? And we should be more attacking. You don't need to be quite as defensive. So you should be playing differently to PSG away than you should Wolves at home, both with tactics but also with individual selection. Not calling out Frank here, but my own conclusion, diagnosis is, and absolutely no expert, is that at home we are too conservative. Fans don't like that, and it rubs off on the team because the atmosphere for me is a big problem. That's the thing. Our away support is fantastic. I love the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Big advocate of it being built. Love it. Season ticket holder there, but it's dead at times, and that rubs off onto the team. Then the team get anxious. Then they've got in their head, oh, Frank said, look, we can't, we mustn't lose. Draw's a good result. And it's a vicious cycle here. And it goes round and round. The fans don't rub off to the players. They rub off negatively. Then it gets nervous when we can see the goal, and you can tell. And then people get annoyed. Then they're rushing Vicario. But this is a massive thing. Happened under Ange. It's happening again under Frank. People are getting frustrated with Vicario taking too long and giving the ball away. So Vicario is now like putting the ball out of play because every time he plays out short, fans are getting on his back and going, when he gives it away. And he's going long and ignoring what Frank said. So the fans are dictating these games at home, and it's not going the right way. They're valid to share their frustration. It's just this vicious cycle in. So it's no surprise we've got bad home form. A little bit more patience inside the stadium, a little bit more support, and being a little bit more attackive at home. That problem for me is solved. I don't think it's easy, but I think that's you're halfway there at least.
You'll have to explain that one to me, Beast of Tears, by the way. But
I think that comes with Marnie playing regularly, Romero being back. I mean, don't forget we've got some good players that are injured at the moment. So getting them back, it just helps with the rotation.
Yeah.
And I think Frank is like, he has experimented, he's tried things, but he's done well because for the goals we've scored and the least amount of goals we've conceded, he's done well. And I do think that's gone unnoticed. We have critiqued him, but recently he's got things right. Yeah, he's got things right.
Cal, let me bring you in. Harry, I thought made some really, I agree with them, but really good points about the positivity. We need to be going into games against Chelsea, Man United, Copenhagen at home with a will that we're going to go and win the games. And that's the bit, in my view, Frank needs to sort, that we go in with positive attitude and positive players with a view to going out and beating teams. I mean, Man United have hit some really good form as well. Chelsea, they're always difficult. Copenhagen we should beat, but they won't make it easy either. So we have to go out, in my view, take control of the games and win them. Just go out and win the games.
Yeah, I think it's about dominating and winning in a good way with these ones. And I think it starts from having 12th man in the stadium, all the fans behind us. I mean, the atmosphere is absolutely diabolical at times when I've been to Spurs. I know we all go and watch games live and it's pretty dead. So we need to back the teams. Chelsea, I think if we're going to be pragmatic in any of the three games, I would say Chelsea is probably the one where we could go with a Bentancur, Paulinho set up to start off with and then open them up more because realistically they're going to have a lot of flair players. So we need to sort of stifle them out. But we just need to build on our form that's away from home, and our home form's been crap. We know that for a fact. We've played poorly. We might have good halves, but it's not been realistic. And we need to just take the game to the other teams, the enemy, whatever we want to call them. Because if we do, we then get good results. And if we get good results here, then that takes off the pressure on players when they're returning for us. Because I know I sent you earlier, Ian, the list of players we had out injured. We got 9 at the moment, and 5 of them are either active first teamers or just on the outside of it or have been first team last year as well. So realistically, we have to go tooth and nail and get into this international break and get rid of it, to be honest, because this is the last one before Christmas. Then we've got a spare run all the way up till Christmas now, and it's thick and fast football. And if we can get these points, that's 6 points on the board in the Premier League, 3 points in the Champions League. So definitely it's where we want to be.
Yeah. The players we're missing, this is Cal sent me this on WhatsApp earlier. Kulusevski, Maddison, Dragusin, Takai, Davis, Solanke, Romero, Udogi, and Bissouma. That's not that's 9 players. That's 9 players. That's 9 decent players that you're missing. So, all right, I'm going to wrap it up in a minute. Still 268 of you, so it's been rising slowly.
Brilliant, guys. Hit the subscribe button if you like the content in the bottom right-hand corner. We can't see it. We do memberships for $1.99. You can do super stickers and super chats if you want as well. Yeah. And like I say, you can find us on Facebook if you like that platform. We have got 14,600 on there, but that's been going for 6 years since the stadium opened. Yeah. You can find us on XCOM as well.
If we got a Sava raid, it looks like a lot of you have stayed. The numbers go up and down.
Which is, we're grateful. We greatly appreciate it. We hope it's because you like the content,
Yeah, well, if you've come from Sava's show and enjoyed it, enjoyed what we've done, thank you. It's it makes the work worthwhile that we put into putting these things together. But very quickly, because I know you'll be doing a preview show on Tuesday, Adrian.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, like Newcastle away, look, it could go either way. I mean, it's a tough place to go. Fantastic support up there. There's mad as hell Geordie fans anyway, but they're very passionate. But, it's a cup game. It's one off. It could go to penalties even or something like that, Then we got Chelsea home. We beat them. We beat Copenhagen. And then, before the international break, look, it's only Man United, guys, before the international break. We beat them 5 times. We beat them again. We get to keep them. You know what I mean? It's only Man United. I mean, what are you worried about there?
In terms of rotation, he's going to rotate, but Newcastle away is not exactly what you call a gimme. Kinski, Gray, Saar, Bergvall, Tell, Odebear, I doubt. Odebear's not fit, is he? Is Odebear not injured?
He was on the bench, so he must be fit. He was on the bench today.
Yeah. Oh, was he? Okay.
Yeah. Oh, well, he took a knock in the week, but he's gotten over that at the moment.
Yeah. I mean, funnily enough, I would start Richarlison again. I would start Richarlison left. I might start Moani.
Maybe I would start Moani, definitely.
Johnson as well. I don't know what he's going to do about the defence, so there doesn't look to be a lot of options. Can't bring Davis in, can't bring Dragusin in, can't bring Romero back. I don't think Romero's ready yet. I mean, it's difficult, but he's going to have to. I mean, it is another game for Polinia and Bentancur, but
it is.
But again, I mean, they should be able to play 2 games a week, but they can't play 2 games a week every week. But then maybe Copenhagen an opportunity to give them some.
I mean, because it's up there, and we'll probably go to hit them on the break. It's it's a good call to play Saar with Bentancur and Polinia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So either that, or you might see a Bentancur, Saar, Bergvall combination.
And if Odegaard isn't fit, then play Simmons on the left and Moani in the middle. Because I think Simmons, I like him. Well, I like him when he cuts in from that left-hand side across the penalty area. Mm-hmm. He hasn't earned the right to play on the 10 at the moment. He will, but it's just you get shut down so quick because you're the biggest threat when you're playing through the middle there.
Mm. I mean, I don't know what sort of side Newcastle will put out. I mean, for example, if they're playing Anthony Gordon, and Harvey Barnes, both or one, they're a different proposition than if they stick in a lot of kids because they're not doing quite as well as us in the league. And they'll want to keep their Champions League run going as well. So these are the decisions. This is what Eddie Howe and Thomas Frank get paid the big bucks for. They have to make those decisions. And of course, fitness coaches will tell them from the analysis they do which players are really ready to start, which players need a rest. That's the kind of analysis they do. Harry, you look like you're itching to come in here.
I am. I just want to say, I think Newcastle will go really, really strong, like full 11, because they've won this competition last year. They're the current holders. It was the first time in 70 years they won it. They're not going to bow down by any stretch of the imagination. But one thing I just wanted to quickly say, if you don't mind, is that both Newcastle and Chelsea, the huge part, in my opinion, this is the most important part of both their sides is their midfield. Newcastle physical, Joelinton, Tonali, Guimaraes, Chelsea, Casado, Fernandes. It's a glamorous midfield, both of them. It's how we stop them. They go, look, Tonali there, just mentioned in the comments after that. So, yeah, we've got to get it right. And Paolini and Bentancur, they probably really need to start both. Have they got it in them after playing this? You hope so. Maybe you start both of them, then you rest and rotate a little bit after that. It's difficult. I don't think we'll be able to get away with. I love Sarr, but he'll be pushed off the ball. I love Bergvall, but he could be pushed off the ball. Newcastle are a physical side, so we need the most physical players in this game. We need to be up for the fight. Newcastle thrive in aerial battles. They will always win the second ball. That's where Tottenham need to be sharp, need to improve, because our performances are a little bit of a concern. And Newcastle will eat you alive at St James's Park if you go there not 110%. So from now till then, still work to be done. But yeah, just wanted to say midfield, we've got to get it right. So important, these two games.
Yeah, well, Adrian will be doing a preview program for that on Tuesday night.
Well, actually, I think we'll be doing a post-match game on Wednesday.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
we'll have more to talk about. So it'll be, if I've done it as a preview, it'll change to post-match, because preview there isn't really so much to talk about. Post-match, we can be bipolar one way or the other.
I tell you what, it certainly looked to me the kind of game where you want Archie Gray. I mean, they're the beast of TH says will hold his own v Newcastle. It's exactly the kind of game you'd want to throw him in and say, come on, you dominate that midfield the way you used to do it for Leeds United. Go and show us what
you just signed him up to be bloody left back now, Ian. You're a freaking jinx.
I thought he did very well at left back, considering anyway, oh God, there's a question. I'll put this to you.
Just seen that.
If we could only win one, Chelsea or Newcastle, which would it be? Devil.
Ronnie, you're cruel, mate. I want to win both.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I want to win both. I'd probably, if you have to say no, you're only winning one, I'd probably say Chelsea, because I think it's critical for the long term of the club that we get
3 points
home game. Not just 3 points. If the game's at Stamford Bridge, I'm saying no, I'll take Newcastle. But the game's not. The game's at Tottenham, and we've got to sort that home game.
I'd rather take Newcastle. I'd rather a cup. I'd rather that. We can recover points in the league. This will get us in the quarter-final already, won't it, if we win this game?
Yeah, well, Harry, what do you say?
Oh, I really don't know, and I hate not answering questions. It's rude. But I'm really, really struggling with this one, because Chelsea's a London derby. You make such a good point that if it's at Stamford Bridge, and I hate going there because we always lose, it's a little bit more acceptable. I can't say that. I honestly do, yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. So it's what makes it harder. If it's at Stamford Bridge, it's an easier decision, which I support what Adrian's saying. That's what I mean here. So it's incredibly difficult, but we need the cup at the same time. For Frank will probably be told to prioritise the league. I'll go with Chelsea, that the one I want to win, but it's incredibly tough.
The audience, Adrian, you got a view, because our audience, do we call them audience or the chat? Our audience, I like that.
Yeah.
Are divided as we are. Chelsea all day long. No, Newcastle opens up a game for us opens up a cup for us. I suppose if you said to me, can we beat Newcastle?
There'll be no lack of atmosphere for the Chelsea game. It might be another game. And it's funny.
Let's win both these games.
If you had the same atmosphere for every game, it'd be like...
Bloody look at that. Ronnie's now recovered himself and thrown all the pressure onto us, hasn't he? You're horrible, Ronnie. You're horrible, mate.
Yeah, Ronnie's lobbed the banter grenade into the mix, right? And now he's backtracking, you know what I mean? But we like the banter grenades. We like the banter grenades, Ronnie. That's okay. Yeah, I mean...
Listen, I'm going to win knock both. It there. There's actually 273 on at the moment, which is seriously amazing.
Smash the like button, please, in the bottom right-hand corner. We can't see it, the subscribe button, and smash the like button, guys. And if you like our content, we pride ourselves in being fact-based and mature and sensible. You might not believe it, but I mean, yeah. So, subscribe to the channel, guys.
Yeah, hey, listen, it's
okay, Iceman. I will message you either through Discord or WhatsApp.
Hey, look, it's great. Look, we don't all sit around waiting for shows all day. People do have lives, although sometimes it doesn't seem like it, does it? I'm not getting at you, by the way. But listen, thank you, everybody, for being in the chat. The comments have been brilliant as well. So I'm going to come to Harry last, but thanks, Cal, one of our regulars. See you hopefully next Sunday night. Adrian, regular. Harry, as I've said before, I think is a star in the making. If you don't
always welcome on Spurs Diehards.
Only 16 years of age. He's only 16 years of age, looking to get a career in broadcasting. If you haven't seen it, go on to what's it called? Scarfy Talk.
Scarfy Spurs Talk. You nearly get it every time.
Yeah. It's just you get apart from his show, which is always excellent. There is an interview that he did this week with released on Friday with Steve Perryman that is a really, really good listen. And it shows where Scarfy is as a YouTuber, as a potential broadcaster as well. So please check that out. As I say, if you do like our content, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the alert button. Then you know when we're coming on live. 270 of you still listening to this. I can't thank you enough. Thank you, Harry. Thank you, Cal. Thank you, Adrian. Again, thanks for everybody in the chat for your contributions. It's been an absolute pleasure to do this.
And Ian will play you out with a nice blues music.
As we say, a little bit of jazzy soul to go out with, and as we say, come on, you Spurs!
Come on, you Spurs!
Come on, Spurs.
Oh, hang on. There's. Oh, there you go. Yeah, there's. Scarfy Talk Pot. Yeah, there you go. Thanks. Come on, you Spurs. Good night, everybody.
See you in the back room, guys. See you in the back room.
We are Tottenham till we die. We are Tottenham till we die. Spurs die, hearts, heart and soul. We are Tottenham till we die. We are Tottenham till we die. Spurs die, hearts, heart and soul. We are Tottenham till we die. We are Tottenham till we die. Spurs die, hearts, heart and soul. Blue. We are Tottenham till we die. We are Tottenham till we die. Spurs die, hearts, heart and soul, lily white and navy blue.